is starting to fill up, and it's not happening. So what's that telling you? Again, we've got to deal with this. I mean, I got Cynthia right over there with the camera. She has a business. She's supposed to be opening in a few days here. Of course, I'm kind of cranky with her anyway because I'm not getting a burger from her today, but that's besides the point. The fact is that we're going into May and it's desolate here. It's a problem. So I don't have a whole lot more to state or say. Yeah, agreed. I don't have a whole lot more to say than what I've said because I can't make it any more simple than it is. Like I said, we had Serena out there. We took her down to Camper Creek. We showed her on a map or a chart off my tablet what they're doing, how they're doing it, all the other static closures that are already in existence right around to Vancouver. And it's crippling the tourism economy. And besides crippling a town, it's a $3 billion a year industry with all the spin-off. And I don't think people realize how big it is. It's fuel, boats, tackle shops, accommodations. Look at how many places are for sale in Port Renfrew right now. I've never seen that many places for sale.
Unheard of.
And unheard of.
Over 22 properties.
There you go, over 22 properties.
You'd be lucky if you saw 3 at most in the past.
So I've got somebody that I just had fingers pointed at, and I see a nice lady there with a. I want to hear from her if she's willing to speak, because I'll tell you what,
Woo!
this will give you some indication as to what we're going through.
This is OG right here.
So hello, nice lady, and your name is Penny Hillard. Mark Roberts. Pleasure to meet you.
Woo, Penny!
Go Penny! Woo!
Okay, so I, for 22 years, cooked
Up higher, up higher.
in every restaurant here in town. 22 years. The old guy there that I'm married to was a commercial fisherman when I met him. After we moved here, he had a charter boat. Now we fish for food fish. And this government is the reason why we're all here, because Trudeau, number one, put us in this position, and now we're fighting Trudeau number 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
47 killer whales were taken from this southern resident pod in order to put killer whales in every sea land of the Pacific, and in Russia. They went to Norway. They went all over the world. 12 of them died. 12 besides that died. So now we're left to what, 59? Why did it have to happen? Because our government liked to play with the superpowers. So, in the long run, this is not Port Renfrew's issue. This is our government's issue.
Yeah.
This should never have happened. We should never have been in this position to begin with.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, here we are. All we're trying to do is make a living, put a few fish in the freezer. We're trying, like the First Nations here are the ones that look after the fish hatchery now that was started by Morris Tromley many, many years ago.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Why are we doing all of this if nobody in Ottawa is listening?
Yeah.
I don't understand how we got to this point in the first place.
Yeah.
We got to get smarter. We got to start banding together
Yes.
and looking after each other.
Yeah.
That's First Nations, that's the community of Port Renfrew, that's the entire West Coast needs to get on board. Because if you think it's ending with just Port Renfrew, you're absolutely wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
Correct.
They are
Yeah.
going to take over one fishery after the other.
Exactly.
And it's the stupidest thing I ever saw.
There we go.
That's all I got to say.
Hey,
Thank you, Penny.
Good job.
Thank you.
Does anybody else? Serena? Come on. You know you want to say something.
I was standing here to record, to be honest.
All right.
Just for better volume.
Does anybody else have anything to say? Because I'll tell you what, your words.
She will come up.
Oh, here she comes.
Hey, Mark. So,
Penny.
hey, Penny, it's time we get one of us elected. That's how we start getting our voice back in Ottawa. We need one of our people back in there. No more of these Adam Touchy leads who's just been raised at Reno.
This way, I want to go here because he's in trouble.
That's right. Oh, he's in Tofino right now.
Did he get allowed to go to Tofino? Did they let him in? Did he get permission?
I know, right? Yeah.
I hope
Sad when you got to get permission to go into a constituent.
a
Would you not
prince thinks
say?
he's a seal.
So, here's Serena. She came with us today for a boat ride, getting her sea legs. Had a little bit of a rough go when she got on land. So here we go. Let's have some fun.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you to Shane as well, who actually was my guide up here. There you are. Thank you for that. I want to say thank you to both of these men and everyone who's supporting and helping and that I've had an opportunity to speak to, from Wayne to Gail to Cynthia to Marina to Charles, to everybody who's been giving voice to this. This is something that I came into new. I had a friend who said to me, this is extremely important, Serena, you need to go. And so I jumped in the next day because I literally had a friend who went missing in Nitnat and our families were busy finding them. So I didn't have time to do the research. And I jumped in the car not knowing, I just trusted this friend. And when I got there 2 weeks ago to Victoria, outside the DFO, that's when I got to hear all of these amazing people giving voice to what was going on. Now, I am First Nations. I'm Cree. I'm from Alberta and I've been here on this island for 7 years now. And what I gotta say is that these are our communities. And that the narratives of divide are the ones that have divided us, pitted us against each other, as you've said, not just for decades, but centuries. Okay, this has gone on for a long time, and when we recognize that it takes a community, it takes a village to work together, from our politicians, from our business owners, from our citizens, all coming together, from those people watching online who are liking, sharing, signing the petition, which the petition is? What petition?
4913 and 4919.
You guys, those are important because it takes a community, which means you have to sign the petitions. You have to share the petitions. You have to get this voice out. It's not enough for us to gather in the rain under here and me to live stream it and think that we all done our job, because the impact on just this community alone, never mind what we heard about how this is going to impact the rest of the island, from Lake Cowichan, the people who gas up, grab groceries, supply there, pass through there, how that stimulates their economy. That's going to be impacted in a big way. Never mind all these properties. What was the residents here? Did you say the permanent residents, about 150 people?
200?
About 200, 150, 22 homes gone up for sale.
Yep.
How many more? This is the second time that this community has had their economy crash. First was with the logging industry. This is the second time that this community is going to have to pull themselves out of this. That's you guys.
That's a shame.
Shame!
It is a shame. And how are they going to do this? What has been put forward for this community and all the other communities that are going to be impacted? Right? We point out the First Nations over here and their campgrounds. You guys gave me a tour. I came up today to see. We saw empty parking lots. We saw restaurants that were usually full this time of year that are empty. We see gas stations that are empty when we drive by. And that's not your guys' norm. And we already see what's happening out there in the world right now. What's happening with the increase in property tax, the carbon tax, and all these other things. We hear what's happening now with the fishery. What's that going to do to the economy? What's that going to do to our food supply when groceries are already going up? If we can't understand how this is going to devastate our economy and our communities, not just on an economic standing, but in every aspect of our lives, then we're missing the point. We don't understand that this impacts everyone, not just those who go out fishing. I had the opportunity to ride with Shane this morning, and we had a lot of conversations. And I asked him, he was talking about fishing in that moment, and I said to him, tell me what it means to you to fish. And he opened up and he was real and he was vulnerable with me.
And I'm going to tell you what it meant to that man was no different than what it means to my brothers, what it means to my uncles and my cousins who are Cree and who fish and hunt for the survival of their families as part of their tradition, as part of their culture. Why is your tradition, your culture, and your means of providing for your families any less important than anybody else's?
Amen.
We can look at the Supreme Court and we can see the 5 categories that take precedence with the fishing and under the regulations. Now, it doesn't matter how we recategorize that, okay? Whether we put tradition, culture, and First Nations first as first precedence, or whether we put the sport fishing and the recreational fishing as last precedence. If you recategorize that and you put First Nations last and sport fishing first, is it right?
No.
So why is it okay right now what we're doing?
Exactly.
Don't we all have that right
Yes.
to supply food for our families, our mental health, our spiritual health, our culture, our tradition? This is going to forever change the face of Vancouver Island, not just for those who enjoy it as a pass of time or those who just want to come here from around the world or across the country. This is going to change the culture.
Yes.
This is going to change the face of Vancouver Island. And you brought up, Mark, that this isn't only happening here. This is also happening on the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
And when you took me out there in the boats, and you showed me, and you broke it down, and you showed me the depth of water we were in. You showed me, we saw the sea lions, we saw which orcas come and feed there. They need over 100 feet of water to properly feed and hunt on the fish. That was 58 feet of water up to 62 max. They're not feeding there. It's irrelevant. So why is this data being put forward and crippling an economy and a culture and a tradition and a people's way of life and our food security on faulty data?
Amen, that's right.
So who is feeding there for orcas if we want to talk about the orcas? The orcas who are feeding on the sea lions
Yeah.
and the seals. And they don't need the depth. And there is no depth there. So what is this about?
Control.
Yeah.
Sign the petition. You guys, it takes a village. And if you don't recognize that it takes each and every one of us understanding that it does not have to be on your doorstep to give a damn. Because if it ever impacted me and my people, and now it's impacting your people, then it's up to the village to say, hey, we are a community. We're no longer going to be divided. It doesn't matter